Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Top Fiverites. In this episode, me and my friend Jonny Peters are talking about our top 5 favorite sitcom characters. Check it out. Thanks. I'm not as good at editing, because I'm using Audacity on this. I'm not as good as editing as I was on Cubase. Cubase was just
Audacity's alright though.
The interface is difficult. It's fine. I'm learning it, but Cubase was some shit.
I've used it for other purposes.
Ooh.
But I can't explain because I don't want the world to know.
That's interesting. So, welcome to another episode of whatever I'm calling this thing. It changes every time I sit down to record it. We are sitting here with Jonathan Peters, a.k.a. Jonny Peters.
What's up?
A.k.a. Johnny Unpredictable, a.k.a. Johnny U, a.k.a. Johnny Woo Bionic, a.k.a. Johnny Jazz Hands.
Yes.
A.k.a. John Phenomenon, a.k.a. The Phenom,
yep.
a.k.a. Fiend, a.k.a. The Fiend, a.k.a. Dufframino, a.k.a. What else?
I have so many
let's
names.
see, Dufframino, what was, oh no, hold on. Did I say Johnny Jazz Hands?
Yes.
Did I say, Scruffy, which is short for Scruff Ramathan, which is Joe Nathan Peters, which is Joseph Nathan Peters, which is also Giuseppe Nathaniel Peters. Yeah. You can tell how long I've known somebody by how many nicknames they have.
You forgot a couple.
What did I forget?
Babyface Wingtips.
Oh, baby, Facci Bambino!
Tubby Jigga
Oh,
Jones.
yeah, Tubby Jones. Okay.
And
Bert Dykes.
I forgot about Bert Dykes.
A.k.a. Bertrand P. Dykes.
Yes.
Esquire.
Shit. What was the other one? Johnny Woo Bionic?
I said that one. I think I got them all now.
Yeah, I think that's
Scruffy, Duffy,
my name's Dufframino.
Dufframino. Oh yeah, and we are discussing our 5 favorite sitcom characters.
Yeah.
Which was tough for me, being a big fan of sitcoms. One restriction that I decided to make was because you think about the term sitcom, and it doesn't really, there's no sitcoms anymore, I guess, kind of, but there are, but it's kind of a thing where it's every show is a situational comedy.
Yeah.
You don't have people just standing around, you know what I mean? It's I understand if you go, oh, Benny Hill is just a comedy show. Because that's just, that obviously there's, But to me, a sitcom could be anything, but I think it's, at this point, become, nope, it's this. It's 3 cameras, studio audience, boom. Because I initially had a couple characters, I had Ron Swanson was on my short list, but I don't consider Parks and Rec really a sitcom. Same with...
Really?
Yeah, it's not a sitcom.
Okay.
It's not a traditional... Because the format is totally different.
Yeah.
There's no talking heads in a sitcom. There's just certain production elements, I guess.
All right.
And Tracy Jordan, I was like, how do you not include Tracy Jordan? Just because of the, I don't want to get off on a rant here. And then he just walks away. Just one of the most brilliant turns
of
a common trope.
What else is on my mind, Grace?
People love parties, like Lemmings. My attorney, Harvey Lemmings, he never misses an event.
So what was the restriction
that was I basically was they have to have done it in front of a studio audience. It has to have been that traditional, from the very first sitcom to, they still kind of do some of them today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I consider that John Ritter show, that 10 Rules for Dating My Daughter, The Reasons Why I Hate You.
Yeah.
I think that was a sitcom,
Do they make the shows now where they do the laugh track to make it seem like it's in front of a live studio audience?
Oh, where they add? No, they don't do that anymore. The last show I could think about that did that actually, it's funny that you mentioned it because I was thinking about this, was, in thinking about this episode, Sledgehammer.
Never saw it.
Sledgehammer was great. It was David Rasky played, it was like a piss take on Dirty Harry. And those cop movies more specifically, but also those cop shows kind of.
Yeah.
Where it was just very tongue-in-cheek. He had a comically huge gun, he was very bloodthirsty, very it was very funny show. But the only reason I know
Wait, who is that?
David Rasky, blonde guy.
Oh, okay.
The only thing he's really known for was he was in Delirious.
I was thinking of the Hebrew Hammer, or is that Goldberg?
That's Adam. Isn't that Adam Goldberg?
Adam Goldberg. That was like a short-lived thing on Comedy Central.
What was a movie?
It was a movie?
Yeah.
I thought it was something on Comedy Central.
I never saw it. They used to show it on Comedy Central.
Okay.
But no, it was just a movie.
Oh.
I think it was straight to DVD or whatever, or just straight to Comedy Central. But no, this was in the same vein, I guess. But that show had a laugh track. And then when it came out on DVD, you could watch it without the laugh track.
And did it change the experience completely?
No, because it was shot with the intention of it not having a laugh track.
Okay.
Yeah, the laugh track was sort of...
Because I've watched clips online where they say check out this Friends scene where they pull the laugh track out, and you're just like, ooh, this is kind of rough.
Yeah, well, but that's a fallacy, because the Big Bang Theory one, they don't take out the laugh track. They mute the sound in between lines, which is different. Yeah. Because I don't know if you've ever been to a show where they have a taping in the studio.
Conan.
But
the
laughs aren't, the laughs aren't fake. They sweeten them. They're always going to fucking sweeten them. But it's not like Big Bang Theory are going out there and there's a studio audience. Dude, you know how audiences are. There's no way that there's this jacked up audience of fucking yokel Big Bang Theory fans that aren't laughing. They're fucking laughing. It's not all added.
You think of the laugh track like a dick pic. No one's taking it just fresh. Everybody chubs up a little bit.
You have to.
You come in a little half-stock.
Isn't that what you want to say? Hey, that's the thing I realized with chicks. Chicks could always take a nudie pic, and it's basically...
That's it.
They don't have to gear up.
I mean...
A dude's...
maybe she does some sit-ups or something.
The best is when, I've seriously had erections where I was I wish I had a fucking camera right now. This is the most glorious my dick has ever looked. But the problem is that the reason why it's so intense is because of whatever I'm enjoying. You know what I mean? So it's
Jay always says it.
The second I switch to camera mode, it shrinks. I can feel it, and I'm like, this is. I need a candid dick shot. You know what I mean? It's I don't know if I should just set up a camera, set up a selfie stick every time I jerk off and be like, now.
Jay always talks about, today, it's a good dick day today. Because you got your good days and you got
some
your bad days.
So you have days where you're I'm packing heat.
One of the times we went to Puerto Rico, we're sitting there at the airport, we're getting ready to go through the security check, and I hear Jay go, make sure you chub up for the picture. I'm like, what? And I turn around and I look at him, and he's kind of not fondling himself in the air, but just kind of giving himself they're okay, I'm getting prepared, because when you go into that X-ray image thing, they see your dick, so he's make sure you jump up for the picture.
When I did that shit, that shit was badass, because I saw the plates.
Yeah.
Not it wasn't because it was it wasn't an X-ray. It was just there was an outline of a body.
Yeah.
And but it showed
this. You see the white.
Yeah, it showed the square behind my shoulder where the plates and screws on my shoulder were.
Yeah.
I was
I'll get that with my wrist.
Yeah, I felt sick. I was I'm bionic. But you're Johnny Woo bionic.
Yeah.
So look at that. It all comes full circle. All right. So I came up with a list of 5. And then I also had this honorable mention category, which I will relate to my one pick. But you can go first.
Now, do you want me to count down, or am I starting?
Yeah, it's probably better to count down.
Okay.
From 5. I mean, I don't rank them, but whoever you would think would be your 5th.
My 5th is This is tough because I thought about it from 1 to 5, and because when I got to 5, I was like, I don't really know. Like, I knew who my 1 was immediately.
Interesting.
2, I was just like, okay, I know who 2 is. 3, I understood. I had to go back to my childhood a bit, but I was like, when I was a kid, it was that one. And then 4 and 5, I kind of had a struggle with.
There's just one thing we have to be clear on.
What's that?
Right now.
Yeah.
If any of them are, Monroe from Too Close for Comfort, I'm leaving.
Too close.
That was Jim J. Bullock.
Oh, okay. So my number 5.
It's like he's supposed to be annoying, and it's like, I know, but he's so annoying I don't want to watch the show. Monroe. That's my Ted Knight.
My number 5 is Eric Foreman from that 70s show.
Man, that's a great pick.
And that was the one where I was struggling. I didn't know if I should put him 5 or 4 because my 4 and 5, I could kind of interchange them. But, like, I love that show.
Great show.
And
up to a point for me.
I mean, as far
4
as...
seasons.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
As far as all the kids' character, the students, the main people. Kelso was a dummy.
And a thumbnail sketch of a dummy too. Let's be honest.
And I mean, I guess you could look at Hyde like, oh, he's the cool guy, but he was always a little too like,
he was mean, man,
like
dick. Like Hyde, I would be like, I don't want to be friends with this guy.
Yeah, and Fez, whatever.
Yes.
So
Foreman is the linchpin, the anchor. He's what's funny about that show.
Yeah.
He's I guess you would consider him in the straight man role, but he's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, can we do? You want to do our impressions? Do you do your Topher Grace? Do you have one?
No.
Okay.
Like,
you want Donna? Donna. That's it. My one word. And then he had this great joke. It was one of the fourth, it was a couple seasons in where he's like. They were talking about who should tell someone the bad news, and he's like, "It'll be me." He's like, "I have this really cool thing I do where I waggle my eyebrows, and my voice goes up and down." It was so good because it was almost breaking the fourth wall. Oh, and my other is my Kelso, 2 words.
Okay.
Come on, Jackie. That's it.
Oh,
I don't think I do impressions of anybody else from that show. But yeah, to me that show was all about Topher Grace and
his dad.
Well, the mom.
Well, yeah, them together, but...
The mom was great.
Yeah.
When they're driving in the car listening to Bad Blood by Neil Sedaka.
Bad.
It's great.
That was just on the other night I was watching that one.
Okay, let's see. Number 5. Wow. And it's... Okay, so Ben Seaver from Growing Pains.
Ben?
Okay, because...
Okay.
You kind of he was me, where I was he's probably the character in television history that I identify with the most.
All right.
And it's funny because I have a bit about how chicks, their favorite movies and TV shows are ones where they envision themselves being the star. That's why so many girls loved Clueless. Because they're like, I'm Cher! You know what I mean? And they love Legally Blonde and stuff, you know? They're like, I'm her, she's me, this is my life is a movie, meow. So, chicks tend to think about, everything in relation to that, you know? At least white ones. But, for me, I was never like that, whatever. Of course, I want to be as cool as John Cusack.
Yeah.
But I was never because he and I are obviously very different, so I was never that's me, that's my fucking idol. But Ben Seaver, I looked like him. I wasn't as dorky, obviously, but I, same hair color, and then the situations where, he was technically, he was the baby for a while until they added the gimmick, baby kid, but he was the youngest, but I was I was the youngest, I guess, out of 2 as opposed to 3, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But basically, my sister was, a cross between the other 2, between Carol and Mike. She was athletically, she was super athlete, blah, 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 plus she was super academic. So she was just an all-star kid. and I was just a piece of garbage that hung out with Stinky Sullivan, you know. So, you know, because it was an 80s sitcom, he got his, you know, he had his moments, he had his laughs, he had his et ceteras and stuff. But we were like, I think he might have been 2 years older than me or a year older than me. So, like, very, you know, in terms of, like, oh, he's making out with a girl trying to touch her boobs. And, like, you know, so that's my pick. He's the only sitcom character I've ever identified with, like, in the slightest.
See, I always looked, even if I identified with Ben more than Mike, I always looked at Mike. I guess it's kind of like, you know, I never had an older brother, you know, so like anytime there was a character on TV, it was just like, man, he's cool. Like, it was easy for me to look up to that character. So seeing Mike and like, Mike was just cool.
He was cool.
So not that I identified with Mike, but I liked Mike.
You know what's interesting about him, and it might have something to do with the Christianity or whatever, or just him getting, you know, older and having more influence on his part, but in terms of 80s sitcoms, like, his character developed a lot.
Yeah. In
terms of him becoming, like, and that was the thing I liked about it, though, was that, like, he got more, just less of a dick, I guess, but he never lost his sense of humor. He never lost his kind of, whatever that, his essence, I guess, for lack of a better term, like. And I really dug that about that show, you know? Like, Who's the Boss? The same characters from the beginning to end. And, yeah, Samantha gets older, but, you know. Yeah, all right, so...
Oh, man, and that girl, Mike's girlfriend, who he actually ended up marrying in real life, that girl.
Oh, the brunette?
The brunette. When I was a kid, I loved her.
See, so now, I was mad. Because I like Julie. The
blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I kind of prefer blondes, like, as far as white broads go. But she was, you know, she did that thing where she posed for Playboy and Mike got her kicked off the show.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really liked her because I just thought she was cool. And then, like, I thought, you know what? It's so funny. I was such a kid. I was like, when Mike married the girl, I think Kate was her name. I was like, ooh, they're rushing into this. I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. They don't really know each other that well. Like, I was like seriously like looking out for them. I was like, maybe they should just, you know, try it out for a little bit. All right, so who do you got next?
Number 4. Dr. Cox from Scrubs.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I'm surprised he's that low on the list. Because I know you love Dr. Cox.
Yeah. Now, if we're going with your guidelines here, I mean, that wasn't filmed in front of a studio. I don't know if we're considering
I wouldn't consider it a sitcom.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But...
Also because it's I had to stop watching that show.
That's the thing with the show. It had really good, funny parts to it, but, like, there were episodes, like, it would just... tug at your heartstrings.
Too much.
Like, wow, like this show's got a lot of depth to it. You know,
and but I would be like, dude, every 3 episodes you're fucking kicking me in the nuts.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I liked that. You know, I like the.
Yeah, well, I'm a happy endings guy.
I like the emotion.
As my masseurs will tell you, and not masseuses, masseurs. As my masseurs will tell you, I'm a happy ending guy. Brilliant character.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of like
another guy who developed a lot in terms of his arc and never losing the essence and stuff.
I feel like he was kind of like a Kramer-esque type thing, where it's like you never really saw something like that. Like it was to me, well, at least to me. It was
you
so
mean
new.
in terms of that? Yeah. It was interesting because, like, the thing that he reminds me of the most is like a drill sergeant. You know, obviously not that harsh, but like that was like it was almost like they put a drill sergeant in the middle of this show, you know? And just all the things that became runners with him, the calling him the girls' names, all that's just great. And of course, you know.
That shows. I love that show.
Oh, that show in its you know rhythm and its moments. Hilarious.
There were only 2 shows. I mean, going back to what we said about that 70s show, it's like, you know, seasons 1 through 4, maybe 5, and then it kind of falls off. I think kind of the same with Scrubs. Seasons 1 through 4 or 5, I would say, like, you know, and then they tried to do like the intern, the new not the new class, but you know they did like the interns after that or whatever, and like it just fell apart.
Too much.
There are only 2 shows for me that from season 1 to the end, or if they're still running, where I'm like 100% I'm in, like they're still as good as they were from the start.
Seinfeld.
Nobody from Seinfeld is on my list.
That's okay.
But I mean, I like Seinfeld. I think it's a funny show, but I don't hold it on the pedestal that everybody else does.
Oh, see, I mean, I just think that like episodes from season 9 make me laugh as much as episodes from season 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it did lose, you know, some of its uniqueness, I guess. Like it got a little bit more sitcom-y as it went on. But okay, so I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I mean, I was just...
Shows that are great from beginning to end.
Yeah, there's only 2 of them.
Okay.
And they're my top 2 characters for this are number 1 and 2, so...
Well, you just name the show. I don't give a fuck. Name the shows now.
Married with Children.
Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. You make me sick.
And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Well, that I can't argue with. All right. Which is also arguably a sitcom. All right, so you said... all right. Number 4 on my list, I guess?
Yeah.
Antonio Scarpacci from Wings. That was Tony Shalhoub's character.
I didn't watch Wings.
He was an Italian immigrant cab driver, you know? It was good because they gave him a handful of foreigner, you know, jokes. Like, you know, he would talk about Hot Blooded or Feels Like the First Time, or Head Games, you know, or Double Vision. No, you're not getting it. Foreigner jokes.
Yeah.
Which those are songs. Those
are
songs by the band Foreigner. I thought it was funny. But yeah, you know, he had a couple fish out of water kind of jokes.
Who was the main person on Wings?
Well, that was Steven Weber and Tim Daly. Was that his name? Tim Daly, the guy that voiced Superman on the animated series.
What was the show that? Oh, I think I might be thinking of Talk Radio, News Radio.
Oh, what a great show!
See, I didn't watch that either. Who was it? Was that
Dave
the
Foley?
Joe Rogan was on?
Rogan, Andy Dick, Maura Tierney, Vicki Lewis.
Was there a sitcom that Thomas
Phil
Hayden
Hartman
Church was on?
Yeah, Thomas Hayden Church was on Wings.
That was Wings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just you know, because Tony Shalhoub's a great actor, and he was interesting because he got, you know, he was a loser. There was a lot of loser jokes. Yeah, I don't know. It was just, and my dad and I used to watch Wings. Like that was one of a handful of shows that we always would watch together. And
how old were you when you watched it?
Well, I was when it was on, when it was current.
When was that?
Early 90s. Yeah. I started watching it every night because what happened was when it got into syndication, they would play it on USA every day. So that's actually how my dad and I got into it. And then we got into like the first couple seasons, and I think they were in like season 3 or 4 when we started watching it, and we watched it all the way to the end. It was funny all the way till the end, pretty much. That was a really good show. Amy Yazbek was good on that show, and that was the other thing was like when she came on as she was what's her name? Why can't I think of her name? Crystal Bernard's sister. Antonio had like this big crush on him, and it was just this whole joke where like she went to get a haircut, and it turned out that it was it was Lowell's cousin Bevo, who was a dog groomer. She's like, I went to this French place, Bevo's, and he's like, oh, it's my cousin Bevo. I didn't know he was cutting hair now. I mean, he's been a dog groomer, and Antonio, it's this horrible haircut, and Antonio just walks in, and he sees it, and he goes, whoever did this to you, I will kill them. Yeah, so my dad and I liked him a lot because he was Italian, and it's just, you know, he's a good character.
Number 3?
Yeah, man.
Going back to my childhood. A man who had the powers that I think every kid wanted to possess. Zach Morris.
Oh gosh.
Saved by the Bell.
You are the most Zach Morrissey kid I've ever known too.
Yeah, he was just one of those ones where like
your list is saying so much about you. It's brilliant.
He had like a coolness to him that was
Cock
just
sucker.
Come on, he would freeze time.
He's a fucking asshole. Selfish prick.
Yeah, he was always out for himself.
And then what? Oh, you take a girl in a wheelchair to a dance and you think you're fucking something? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. I was that like gullible kid that fell for, like this is what the writers did. Like they wrote this guy being like, kids are gonna like it for this, and I was like, I like him for this. Like
yep.
I'm that dude.
Yeah, you were. You're the total Zach Morris mark. I just used to watch that show because I thought Lark Voorhees was gorgeous. She was one of the first black chicks I was really super into.
I thought all the girls were really good looking.
Nope. Didn't like any of the other ones. Just her. I was like, oh, look at that angel. I was like, why does she have the last name like Turtle? Like,
Turtle.
Who has the last name of Turtle? And then they brought in Mr. Tuttle, and it's like, are you serious?
You do a Tuttle and a Turtle?
Tuttle? Come on.
I wonder if you could look in the phone book and see.
Now, she I thought was hot when Leah Remini was on the show.
Stacey Carosi?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I go back and I'll watch some of the episodes now, and like it's so laughable. But I guess it's like that with a lot of things. Once you go back.
Oh gosh, most of the stuff we liked when we were kids is straight garbage. Straight, right?
Yeah.
Just awful crap.
I mean, it's the same now. Like I'll see a TV show that my niece is watching, and I'm like, "What is this shit?" And it's the biggest show for kids.
But
right now.
with a lot of them is like, I never laughed. And like, what the fuck?
These shows now, you're saying?
Yeah, but I know the shows that like I remember sitting there for entire episodes of Roseanne, and not laughing.
Roseanne was a different.
But I watched it every week, dude. Like all of these shows, I watched Saved by the Bell twice a fucking day.
Yeah.
And I never laughed. It never made me laugh. I was entertained. Obviously, I dug it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I could have been watching Blackadder or I don't know. It was just I guess it was just what your brain can handle at the time. You get your brain has to develop. But I never laughed at that shit. Why was I watching it?
It's you're right. It's funnier now to go back and watch it and laugh at everything because of what it was. Because yeah, you're right. At the time, it's not like they were, the jokes were just so cheesy and the things that they did.
Or it's like Cheers. I used to watch Cheers, and I wouldn't really laugh that much. And now I watch it and I laugh.
Well, it's because when we were watching,
we
our
were
age,
too young.
We didn't catch it.
A lot of it. I don't know. I mean, I had a pretty mature sense of humor, but I guess I don't know. I guess.
Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Reverend Jim Ignatowski from Taxi.
My dad. I was talking to my dad the other day, and he mentioned something about Taxi.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, man. The brilliant thing about it is that he took. He's the prototype for Kramer. He took that, the idiot role, and he turned it into something completely different. Where it's like, no, this guy's not dumb. He just sees the world so differently that, whatever. But the idea behind him was that he was obviously some kind of genius, but this big speculation has always been okay, why was he like this?
Yeah.
Was he a burnout? Did he have mental problems, like psychological issues, or what? Because he was very savant-like.
Yeah.
But he was also, hey Alex, with the wild hair, and he always had the bug eyes and everything, and so people never knew it was it's because this guy is is he a junkie or is he just fucking crazy? But he was the template for Kramer. Kramer is a little more, obviously way more high energy. Reverend Jim wasn't really high energy at all. But yeah, very, very, unique, singular, but also a twist on a very popular stereotype,
It's funny how your shows your picks from the shows that you watched are like older generation shows from us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, it's.
Yeah, man.
Well, you're a genius, so.
I don't know about that. I don't know what that has to do with it, but.
It's because you had a developed mind, so you needed adult shows. I was like, yay, Zach Morris!
Oh, I see. I don't know. I guess I got that stuff out. I mean, I watched Saved by the Bell. I literally saw every episode from Miss Bliss and Nikki and T.K. Carter and all that up until almost the end,
Yeah.
I was there through the Tory year. She was tough. She was tough. Wow, we're getting to the...
Tori, oh my god. She was tough. Why was she tough? Because she had a leather jacket. Like, I hated that. That's how they had to be like, oh, she's a tough girl. Put a leather
She
jacket
rode a
on
motorcycle.
her. Yeah.
And she busted Zach's balls. I liked that era of the show.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I didn't see what the big deal was with Kelly Kapowski. I just didn't see the big deal. And I didn't like that she was playing both dudes.
Yeah. She would flip-flop from
And then
Slater.
she dated that older fuck and everything, and I was just like, fuck this bitch. I'm like, this hoe's just like every other hoe in school. Like, they were all like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, come on, man. I was like, I gotta live through this shit, like, in my fictional life, too. Like, give me a break, homie. Like, tell me to, like, because all it does, because, dude, your whole concept of reality is fucking, at that age, is verified by TV and film. So then I'd see a girl in real life and be like, oh, the reason that she won't talk to me is she only dates older dudes. And then I'd be like, I would just want to think that was a theory.
Yeah.
And then I'd see TV and be like, nope, that's proof. It's true. No 14-year-old girl's going to date me because they only date 18-year-old dudes. Awesome. Great.
Oh,
I'm
man.
fucked for the next 4 years. And then I was like, what the fuck am I going to do when I'm 18? Because I'm only going to want to date 18-year-olds. I'm like, I'm not going to want to date 14-year-olds when I was 18. Little did I know.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yep, that's it. I should just blow my brains out because I'm never going to find a girl. Oh, guess what? Still single, so maybe I was right.
Oh, shit.
Great. I'm going to go kill myself.
Stop.
Thanks for tuning in.
And gunshot.
You just made it real.
Stop.
All right, yeah, it wouldn't be a gun.
That's where we at.
Number 2.
Okay, now number 2 I was struggling with because my number 2 is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I like all the characters so much on that show. It's hard to pick one of them.
What is it? How about this tasty delight? What does he say? When he opens the bag and there's just a bag full of bugs because he's trying to get him to puke?
I don't remember.
Frank says it. I don't remember. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's... Because it changes. I mean, the show's going... It's been on 10 years now. I think they're going into season 11. So, like, starting off, first watching it, Charlie was, like, the crazy...
Of course, yeah, you gotta love Charlie.
It's like, oh, yeah, Charlie, and then, like, I slowly, like, went from Charlie, and I started liking Mac more, because Mac was, like, the leader. I'm doing the air quotes. He was, like, the leader guy, kind of, and then... they started doing more character development with Dee when she started doing, like, the characters within the show, and she was getting a lot of good stuff. And then, like, Dennis just, like, blossomed out of nowhere. I was like, oh, my God, Dennis is amazing. Frank came in the second season where it's like, this is unreal. And, like, the arc that they made with him where, like, he starts as, like, their rich dad who comes in. He's like, yeah, I'm tired of being rich. I want to live in the slums with you guys. And, like, they just bring him as far as they can, and he does the wildest, craziest shit. And, like, they were on Conan one time, and they said that, like, we write episodes just to see how far we can go with Frank, with Danny DeVito's character, see what we can get him to do. And he never says no. He doesn't say no. And they talked about, I think it was Charlie that was talking to Conan about it. He said that there was an episode one time that they wrote where they're like, let's see how far we can get it with, we can get Danny to go. And Standards and Practices actually turned them down and said, we can't do this episode. They wrote an episode where Frank goes to jail for some reason, and all the inmates in jail start raping him. inmates start raping him. And he doesn't know what to do about it, so he goes to the guards to complain, like, hey, I'm getting raped in here. And all the guards start raping him. Because he's, like, just the bitch. And they said that standards and practices was like, nope. And they talked to Danny about it, and, like, before they went to submit the episode, and he was just like, yeah, that's what you guys want to do. Like, he was just so cool with it. But, so, from that show, I would have to say, now, as it stands, I think Dennis is my favorite.
I can't believe you'd say that. It's so obviously Mac or Frank. The thing about...
it was tough between Mac and Dennis. Like, I don't know. Because...
there's just so much in his delivery where he's just...
you know what it is?
Like in the drinking contest, when he puts... he drugs the college kid. Just the way he's like, he won't be a problem, but he's like, I took care of it. He like shakes the pill bottle. He's like, how many pills did you give him? I don't know, 2, 4, 20. Like,
yeah, see, maybe it is Mac. It's either Mac or Dennis.
it's just too fast. It's just too fast. Remember when he crashes the car?
Yeah.
It's just the way, it's brilliant, the way he's acting when he gets out.
Mac or Dennis, Mac or Dennis.
I mean, Dennis, don't get me wrong, Dennis is great. And what he does is harder than what anybody else in the show does.
I think Dennis has...
you know what I mean? In terms
yes.
of the performance and everything.
Yeah, I think Dennis's performance is above Mac's, but...
the thing I like about Mac is he's kind of like... he's like the Larry, you know, from the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Where he, you know, sometimes he's the idiot. Like, when it's him and Dennis, he's the idiot, you know? But when it's him and Charlie's the idiot. Yeah, and then when it's the three of them, he's the guy in the middle, and that's what I really like about him, you know? That's the hardest role to play in comedy, is the middleman. You know, the straight man's easy to play. The wacky guy's easy to play, you know?
Yeah, it's Mac. It's definitely Mac.
But that middle role, you know, is actually where my number 2 is. And that's the greatest sitcom, you know, probably the greatest sitcom character of all time. In terms of favorites or whatever, I don't know. Is George Costanza.
Yeah.
Untouchable. Just absolutely untouchable.
He is great.
He's such a unique, you know, there's never been a more, you know, we're at a certain point, you just have to admire him. Even though he's such a dick, you just have to admire him, you know? Like just the fact that, like, you know, spoilers, how when Susan dies, right, from the envelopes, and at first, you know, the first couple, especially with the parents, obviously, he's making it like whatever, and then he just in later seasons is just like, yeah, my fiance died from envelopes that I picked out. Like, he just owns it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't even, you know. And the thing is, like, should he feel bad about it? No.
Yeah.
He was just going cheap, dude. Who would ever guess in a million years that cheap glue? But it was, you know, it was a thing where at first he was like, whoa, and then later on, just get them.
Did you hear the story behind why they killed her off with the envelopes? I mean, obviously, licking the envelopes was the reason why.
No.
You know, was to make it
I
funny.
might have heard it, but I don't recall.
Jason Alexander was on Howard, and he was talking about how, I don't know the girl's name that plays
Heidi
Susan.
Sweetberg.
George always said that he had a real hard time playing off her. And he's like, I have nothing against her. She's, you know, great girl, love her, awesome actress. He goes, but I just couldn't play off of her. Everybody else always said, you know, it's you, blah, blah. And then something happened where there was like a scene where they were all involved with her, and, you know, they get done wrapping up or whatever, she leaves, and they stuck around, and they were all like, we completely understand what you're saying. Like, we can't play off of her. Like, you know how it is in comedy sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
some people you click with and
you
some
just
you
don't mesh
Yeah.
with certain people, and they said they just couldn't
It's an awkward feeling.
get anything with her.
Oh, I'd hate to. Oh, could you? Oh.
I mean, it sucks that he told it on Howard because now the whole world knows about it.
But just like, I'm just saying, like, you know that feeling, like, you know that feeling, like, and I know that feeling. So could you imagine, like, having to go into work every day, like,
And being like, let me try and make something out of this.
Gosh, dude, it's brutal. It's the worst.
So then
it's why I quit improv.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
I
that.
couldn't deal with it.
So he said he went in and he was talking to Larry David and Jerry one time, and about how frustrating it is with her when they do scenes together. And he's like, it's so frustrating. Like I wish that she would just like die or something. And they were just like, So then they wrote it in that the character dies. But yeah, I mean he's great on that.
And just the length that he, back to almost the DeVito thing, like, when they realized, like, they talk, they've talked about it, just Jerry being like what a big deal it was of like to be able to start making fun of him being bald, and where that went, and like just the vulnerability, like there was the one where he's taking the pictures and you saw his body more than anybody else on the show.
Yeah.
Hands down. And he had a bad body, you know what I mean?
Well, that's normally how it works. The person with the weirdest physique is
But you saw Tony Danza with his shirt off a decent amount of times on Who's the Boss.
Yeah, but when you're going for
what? I'm vacuuming with my shirt off. What? Angela. Jonathan. Mona. Samantha. You knew it was going to happen. You knew the second I mentioned 80s sitcoms.
I knew it was coming.
It had to come.
I didn't want to ask for it.
Look, guys, it's all I have in my life is my Tony Danza impression. And
No, but I think, like when you have a goofball like Costanza, it's good to, make him take off his shirt and show off his funny physique.
Yeah, but he went far with it, It was great.
Remember when he had to take his shirt off anytime he took a dump?
Yeah. No encumbrances. The funniest thing about that is that there's that scene where he comes out and he
just walks out into the
like,
party.
You see that 3D art in there? Weird stuff, right? Is that one time we were I was working with Dave at the record store. And Dave obviously is a huge Seinfeld fan. And where the bathroom was positioned was like if you were at the cash register and you turned your head to the left, you would see all the way down the store to the bathroom door. And the way that the store was set up was if you were in the front part of the store, unless you were in that alleyway, you couldn't see.
Yeah.
So there was people in the store on a Sunday, right? That there was nobody in the back. And he came out with his shirt off. And he's like, just see that 3D art there? Weird stuff. And then he just went back into the bathroom. Like, dude, I lost it. I lost it. Because apparently Dave would do the same thing. And I think he did it, like, tried it out based on the Seinfeld and was like, oh yeah, I like this.
Nice.
Like, this is my thing. Like, I definitely can get into this. Which is funny because in the episode where they eat the desserts with the Snickers bar with a knife and fork, I ate a cookie with a fork the next day at lunch. And I was like, nope, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I used to eat Skittles with a spoon, though.
Like cereal? Like spooning it up like a cereal? Or just like one at a time?
But then you realize it doesn't matter. And also now I've gotten a little bit weird, where like I don't really like eating with metal utensils anymore. I will, but I don't really like it.
Why is that?
Because I don't like the metal in my mouth.
Yeah.
I prefer to eat with my hands, if possible, like Puck from The Real World Season 2.
Oh, man.
He was cool. He's a good sitcom character.
That was The Real World, though.
It was real. It was totally real. Actually, I don't know. It was the first couple seasons were actually.
Well, that second season. Before they started making it what it is today. But The Real World in the beginning, like the people would get up every day and they'd go to their job and they'd come back and they would have the things that like they still had their occupations and things to do. But then they just turned it into this like, hey,
circus.
Put a bunch of alcohol in a house, and like let them go nuts and party.
Give them these shit jobs, like these shit fake jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, one of the girls from the Real World Seattle, the girl Irene, the one who the black dude slapped, and then she got Lyme disease, so she had to leave the show. You remember that?
No, Seattle. Who else? Who's on that season?
The guy from Boston, The other guy from Boston.
What's
They worked at a radio station.
how
Season
far?
3.
3? I didn't watch it. I watched. I didn't see 1. I saw 2 with
Oh,
Puck.
1 was good. With Eric Nies from The Grind.
That was the one that also had
Heather B. All Locks Down. Yes.
You in here for some marijuana? Was he on the first season?
No, he was. Actually, I think that was season 3.
He's the one that pulled the towel off of
Season
the girl.
3, yeah, season 3. Okay, so Seattle was season 4. Season 3 was L.A. It went. It was New York, San Francisco, L.A.
Okay.
That was the L.A. season. That was David.
Yeah.
Yeah, pulled the thing off Tammy, who wound up marrying Kenny Anderson from the New Jersey Nets
Oh,
and
yeah.
Boston Celtics and others. Yeah, Portland, I think. Yeah. That was the beginning of the ridiculousness. Was that season?
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, it might have been the same season. I don't know. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
But season 1 was real, but it was boring, and that's why they were like, "This is interesting," but it's like, But that season 1, had Kevin Powell, who later, he's actually a pretty big writer now in music, and journalist. He's a music journalist.
Mm-hmm.
But was season 2 the one? Yeah, season 2 was the one with Judd, the cartoonist.
I don't remember that.
He the interesting thing about him was he went to college with the Sklar brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so one of them was actually going to appear in one of his audition tapes or whatever, but didn't, or they did, but it sucked. It was like weird. But yeah, they went to college with Judd. So they verified that like most of like his season was, they were like, yeah, it was pretty real.
Wow.
Like there wasn't much artifice, They hadn't really learned. But I don't know, like again, the record store and Dave were on that reality show and it wasn't really a work. So like everybody seems to have this idea of reality shows, and it's like, I understand, because people, like, I've known people with different involvements in reality shows, and some of them, yeah, obviously, like The Hills, but it's like,
It depends.
there's
Some
levels,
of them,
dude.
yeah.
Some of them are fucking real. Like, they're edited, of course, because you edit shit, but like, a friend of mine got read by the Long Island Medium, and there was no script, there was no whatever. The only artifice in the show was they filmed her walking in a couple different times.
Yeah.
They got a couple shots of
some
like
B-roll.
Right. That was basically what it was like B-roll and just transition stuff. But in terms of what the show is fucking known for, the show isn't known for its real fucking shots of the clerk handing her tapes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, like the bigger ones, like anybody that thinks.
but that show, like, when she read him, dude, totally real.
Yeah.
And you could say whatever you want, but like about as far as believing or whatever. But he was like, nope, it was totally real. It felt totally real. She said shit that I feel like only a psychic, and it was specific shit. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks reality shows are scripted to the letter, and it's like they're not all scripted.
Yeah, not all of them. But I mean, there are, like Duck Dynasty. Like if you think that, Miss K is taking her grandkids to the bowling alley,
yeah, I
and
never
like the
watched
people in Louisiana are just like, oh yeah, that's Miss K over there. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
Like they shut down the bowling alley. There's actors bowling, and then they do their thing. Like, hey, we're just bowling. That's all it is. Anytime they show like Sadie, who's the daughter, like if she's got a boyfriend or this and that, like they're all hired actors.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're too big, like it's...
Oh, like it's impossible.
Yeah, they're too famous and big to just have, like, hey, this kid from school is, it's... At least that's how I have no proof, obviously. So I don't know.
You were on a reality show.
A reality show?
Weren't you on a... You were on a... That...
Was it considered a reality show?
The show that you were on would be considered... The show that you were on would be considered a reality show.
You think?
Yeah.
That's considered a reality show?
It's a reality-based game show, I guess. But
that
yes,
was
dude.
completely... Not that it was scripted, but it was completely fake.
Right. But, okay, so... Reality show, to me, which is, in its purest form, obviously, is the term reality shows to me is no actors, right?
The first reality show ever done was Cops. That was 100% real.
I don't really think of that as a reality show.
But, I mean, like, there's cameras, they're filming life, this is what the cops do.
It's a documentary.
Yeah.
It's a basically, it's a documentary. It's just half-hour increments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like reality show, like, this is what it means to me, right? Or what it should mean, is non-actors in a episodic television environment, meaning, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then there's different elements, right? There's like reality game shows. There's reality competition shows, right? And then, well, you know, and then there's documentary reality show, which is obviously doesn't exist. Those are the fakest ones, Kardashians and...
So mine would be considered a reality competition.
Yeah.
That was completely fake, because I had to go in as a character.
Right.
I had to pretend it was Frankenfood.
Is that still on?
No, I don't think so. I don't cook. You know, like, I could make fucking eggs over easy and you know, like...
So when you went in...
I went in there, and I was contacted. I knew one of the producers of the show. She called me up and said, do you want to be on this? And I said, yeah. She's like, all right, we're looking for, like, cool, quirky characters. Come up with a character. Let me know what you're doing, and I'll put you in. I said, all right. So I came up with, you know, like, I did, like, the Italian, you know, not really, I mean, well...
Say it.
What? Like,
Guido.
Yeah, I did, like, a Guido type. You know, I wore a suit, you know, open shirt. I put a gold chain around my neck. I slicked my hair back. I kind of had, like, the, you know, the Italian-American way of speaking. And even though I don't look 100%
Passionately, with great intelligence.
and even though I don't look Italian, you know, like, I had a backstory. Yeah, I created a character.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she said, she goes, there's only, and this was the weirdest part when I told Jay about this. He was like, mind blown. I can't believe that. When you go in to film, you know, you go in for a day.
You have to shave all your body hair,
yeah,
right? Which is
like,
it's so strange.
They make you shave your ass in front of people, and not even like, it's strange. But like, only a few people.
Like, if they don't see you do it, then you know they're like, look.
Actually shave. The producer that contacted me and maybe one other person there were the only people that knew that I was an actor. Because they peppered actors into it. There were real contestants, but they have to get some, like... Because you never know. Sometimes real people go
Bunch
in
of
to do
duds.
it and it could be a dud.
Especially cooks.
So
some of them are just cooks.
So they need characters to pepper in here and there. So I had to go in there. I walked in character, and I left in character. I couldn't go in there and be like, all right, we're getting ready to film. All right, let me put my character face on. You know, like, I walked in there, and like any interaction that I did with people before I even went into the room to film was in character. All the talking that I did, everything was in character. And like, the people that knew, like the guy that was with me, he must have known, you know, because like I go into the kitchen, my dish is already made. And they're like, right here, you know.
Which you had, by the way, I mean, when you say your dish, you mean the dish that they assigned you.
They assigned me a dish. They're like, this is going to be your dish. That basically, like, the dish had to go with who you were.
Right.
So with me being like, you know, the Guido type, like I had like a lasagna, I forget what it was. It was like a corned beef, or it was like a Reuben lasagna or something. And, you know, they get shots
I know
of
a
me.
kid in elementary school named Reuben Lasagna. That's
Reuben
very
Lasagna.
strange.
And, you know, they get you shots of you, you know, like, putting it on the plate and doing this and that. And, like, it was completely scripted. They're like, all right, you know. And then they brought you in front of the judges. You explain your dish, and they taste it, and, you know, like. And, of course, you know, when it came to air and I watched it, like, I didn't make it onto the show. I had, like, 2 seconds of, like, when they just pan through the kitchen of everybody in there. Like, you see me, like, you know, cooking, fake cooking, pretending to cook. And that was mainly it.
So when you were fake cooking, were the other people like really preparing their dishes and shit?
No, the people, they kept them separated.
Oh, they kept the real cooks.
They kept the day that, because it's all edited, so they made it seem like, they could have made it seem like I was there at the beginning when in actuality I filmed at the end. So the girl told me, one of the producers who knew that I was an actor, she told me when I left, she goes, now when you leave, she goes, all the people that are sitting out in the waiting room, she goes, those are the finalists, they're coming in to film their next step.
Make sure you go walk into the room with your dick out.
Yeah, she's like, sign your dick, show them how you shaved your ass, and
so they think it's a reality show.
So they know it's
right. That's
in fact real. So she said, she's like, so when you go out there, if you interact with any of them, just stay in character in case I was on the show. They'd be like, oh yeah, we saw that guy. But yeah, so I filmed at the end.
Exceptionally small taint. We call him Little Taint. That's how we remember that guy. But he was definitely a real cook.
Wow, amazing how we went from a TV show to...
Well, we were going to talk about Small Wonders, so why not talk about Small Taint? All right, no, I mean, I did that to fill a little time. I also wanted to build up number one.
What was your 2? Did you do your 2? Oh,
Costanza, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Costanza.
So we're on number 1.
I love when he can't read. He hates reading because he can't listen to the sound of his own voice, and he has to read this risk management thing. So he fakes being blind to get the book on tape, and then the guy reading the book is him. It's just, in order to minimize risk, first we must define risk. And it was just great because it's Jason Alexander just doing a more annoying version of the voice. It's so funny. I was thinking about that episode the other day because, remember that? He tanks the eye exam and the doctor is kind of fugs. And he goes, by the way, you're a very handsome man. And then he goes, you're a very handsome man, by the way. He's already failed the eye exam. You know what I mean? He's already yeah, you're blind. The doctor's already been well, Mr. Costanza, you're blind. And he's like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're a very handsome man, by the way. The doctor just gives him a look he feels bad for him, this poor bastard.
Do you think Jerry knows that... I guess it's all opinion, but the majority of people that I speak to about Seinfeld, they say that they're like, oh yeah, Jerry's, he's the last on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he knows that. He owns up to that. He's conscious of it, sure.
You think it bothers him?
Not at all. He doesn't care.
Because he's a billionaire because of that
Well,
show?
And it's honestly, do you think that he needs verification that he's funny? Because he realizes what he looks at it, I'm sure. I'm speculating, but I'm sure he looks at it like this, okay? Because don't forget, he wrote a lot of that show. He was the last word on that show.
Yeah.
So even if he didn't write the episode, it was filtered, through his kind of sensibility. And that's from the beginning to the end, because Larry David left the show. So he did 2 seasons without him. So you have to think about it like this. There are... All right, so for example, I can't think of his name right now. The guy that plays Dennis, right? On Sunny.
Glenn Howerton.
Right. He doesn't really know how funny he is. He knows that he's great, and he must know that he's loved in the role of Dennis on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? He looks at that show from 2 aspects also. He thinks about it as a writer and as a performer. So, but with Jerry, it's Jerry knows he's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
For a person of him, that's all he cares about. He knows he's funny. He knows he's a great stand-up comic, right? So from that point, he goes, okay, well, I know I'm not going to be the best actor on this show. I know I'm not going to turn in the best performances. So why don't I make sure that I facilitate these other great performances?
Yeah.
So that's all it is. It's he's like a point guard in terms of being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you just keep the ball in the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the other thing is as a writer, you go, look at these hilarious characters. Look what I created around me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's with characters like that surrounding you, it's
Right. So, and the other thing too is that, yeah, he's 4th best, but he was fucking talented, dude. Like, he had his moments. Like, you could say whatever you want about him not being... He had his moments, dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't awful.
No, but I don't
He had his... You know, he breaks in some scenes, whatever. But the other thing, too, is he's a comic. So, comics, we laugh all the time. When, you know, people bust out jokes at funerals. Like, we laugh, dude. Like, there's nothing you can... You know what I mean? Like, there's no situation is too tragic or whatever. Because that's what humor is for. So wait, did you do your number one?
I'm on number one
Let's
right now.
do it. This episode is gonna go long, but fuck it, we're geniuses.
Al Bundy,
Oh my gosh.
Married with Children.
I forgot that you said it, and I was hoping you were gonna, like... I forgot that you mentioned this, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't put two and two together, and I was maybe hoping that you were like, gonna pick Grandmaster B.
Yeah.
Look here, Flashwater.
Bedwetter B.
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy. That show like paved the way for shows like Sunny in Philadelphia.
I'll give you that.
That show came on and it was like, hey, we're pushing the envelope to where people don't want, you know, like people were uncomfortable. Like I knew kids that weren't allowed to watch Married with Children. But like my parents were like, yeah, you know, it's fine. It's TV. It's fine.
I chose not to watch it.
But man, I like that. I like the dark humor and then the insults and the holy shit. He was fucking great.
He was great. The only moments on that show that I could tolerate were him, and mostly just him. The pose.
4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns, man. I loved that about him.
I mean, even like, aside from him, Christina Applegate, like some of the outfits that they allowed her to wear on network television.
It does make
like,
a show great.
Oh, no, but I'm saying, like, these were things where, like, people saw that and they're like, how... There's a show on now, American Horror Story, like, they do things. I'm like, how do you get away with this? I watched the first episode of this season. This season is Hotel. They basically had a blood orgy on TV, and I was like, this is TV now. Like, cool.
There's no limits.
But I mean,
when you have one of the most highly, you know, regarded shows of all time is about a fucking meth dealer with terminal cancer, like, you know what I mean?
Why, you're against Breaking Bad?
I haven't seen it. I'm not against anything, dude. I'm an artist. I love everything fucking...
Because it is the greatest show ever.
No, I refuse to watch it. But, dude, I like to laugh now. I'm a comedy guy through and through. I don't need dramatic shit anymore. So I don't need to watch it. Nothing against that show. Obviously, fucking droves of people that are going to fucking stab me in the heart for it. But Al Bundy, huh? Yeah, Ed O'Neill's a great actor.
Yeah.
He was what made that show at all watchable for me, even though I did like David Faustino.
Yeah.
All right, so my number one pick is Ed Norton. Honeymooners. You know?
I watch.
Art Carney's character. Honeymooners is the first sitcom ever, arguably the greatest sitcom ever. 31 episodes, all brilliant. Maybe 33 episodes. You know.
It's so funny how you pay how
he invented everything. You know, he's Kramer and Ignatowski and Charlie, and he's all those guys' dad. You know what I mean? Like, and because he was the first, obviously, you know, there weren't, like, Ignatowski was a, you know, nuance of it. You know, Kramer was a nuance of the absolute archetype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did a lot of physical comedy, just a lot of gags, and he was just funny, man. He was just the original wacky neighbor, idiot best friend, you know what I mean? He was the, you know, obviously Barney Rubble is based on him, you know, and then on down the line, you know what I'm saying? But
now, you watched the show again because your dad was into it, or like this was something that you
my
watched
dad was
later?
into it. No. My dad, it started in 1950.
Yeah. But he would watch it, and you would say, "Hey, what's this?" And then,
kinda. I mean, not really. Like, because of our my dad's working 2 jobs for a long time, we didn't really have like a window where we could watch stuff together, except for basically like 7 to 9 every weekday. You know, so that's why we watched Wings together, because it was on early. And every now and then he'd stay up to watch Seinfeld, but not all the time. So a lot of times I would watch Seinfeld by myself. Honeymooners was more like a thing where him and my uncle would talk about it, and you know, they loved it or whatever. My uncle's a fanatic about it, and Stooges too. So I would just watch it when I could, you know. And Honeymooners was on Nick at Night a lot, so I would watch it then. And then WPIX, you know, shows the marathon every year. And then when I got the DVDs, obviously that was when I like filled out the you know. But yeah. I mean, it was more for the fact of like when I was a kid, like, of when, you know, the times when I just watched TV and we had cable, so I would just flip around. I wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't, the networks didn't show comedy at 3:00. You'd have to go to fucking, you know, you'd have to go to TBS, or you'd have to go to WGN. Like I sometimes would watch 4 episodes of Saved by the Bell a day, because WGN would play them at the same time as the Florida stations, but because it's Chicago, it would be an hour back. So I'd watch 4 episodes right in a row. WGN is how, and TBS are basically how I saw most of the old shit that I've watched, you know, and Nick at Night. Nick at Night was how I saw Taxi. WGN is how I fell in love with Night Court. Night Court, what a great show.
See, when I was a kid, like if a
Dan
show was
Fielding would be, but I don't consider that show
a sitcom.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I was younger, if I saw a black and white show, like, you know, as a kid, I would just be like, this is old. Like, I want to see something current.
I understand. That's, you know, and I was the opposite, because I'm a born contrarian, iconoclast, whatever. So I would be like, oh, this is old, you know? Like, this is the original shit. Like, this is the fucking real shit. And so with the thing with Ed Norton is I have aside the children of Ed Norton. First on my list, Boners to Bone.
Boners to Bone.
Let's do Boner. Boner. Boners to Bone, for those people that don't know, was Mike Seaver's idiot best friend.
Yeah.
For a long time, you knew him as Boner. Just Boner.
Boners to Bone.
And then it was, Boner, what's your last name? Stabone. So your name is Boners Stabone? Yeah. What's your dad's name? Sylvester. Your father's name is Sylvester Stabone.
Oh, so good.
Oh, classic. Boner was a good character. Boner was a cool dude.
Yeah.
Eddie was the asshole, remember?
Yeah.
Eddie was a dude.
Eddie was the dick. Boner was, he was like,
Eddie,
he was like.
Is Eddie the one, didn't they kill Eddie? Didn't he die in a drunk driving accident?
Probably.
Oh, no, wait, that was Sandy. That was Carol's boyfriend. Anyway, so another child of Ed Norton.
Yeah.
The great Buddy Lembeck.
Buddy Lembeck.
From Charles in Charge. Who coincidentally, one of the only jokes I remember is also a name joke of his. Where he's like, remember Buddy had a sister? Bunny Lembeck. Bunny Lembeck. Yes. And he's like, your names are Buddy and Bunny? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, well, what's Buddy short for? And he's like, Buttons. And he's like, what's Buddy? And he's like, what's your sister's name? And he's like, Bunnins. Like, what's the matter with your names are Buttons and Bunnins?
Charles, guess who's in town? Who? Duran? Stupid ass joke from that show.
Alright, so another child of Ed Norton, Lowell Mather.
Who?
Thomas Hayden Church from Wings.
Okay.
But the thing about him was the difference was obviously that he was a pretty good mechanic.
He was more meatheadish.
He was simple. He was a simple man, but like he was a little more savant-like, you know, or it was like, this guy's not, like, Buddy was totally fucking useless, you know what I mean? Like, but Lowell actually could do some stuff, you know, like when he would fix stuff, it would work.
Yeah.
Like when he would, like, Remember, there was a thing where Helen drove through Joe's office and tore the hole, and Lowell rebuilt it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, he's an idiot, but
He's got skills.
he's got skills. He's not useless. As opposed to the last guy that I could think of. I mean, obviously Kelso is similar.
Yeah.
Is Woody from Cheers.
Yeah.
Who I can't recall any jokes, but they wrote some very good jokes around him. He was a very funny cat.
That was one of those shows I used to watch that with my parents, but again, I was young, so a lot of it went over my head.
But yeah, those are a lot of the archetypes. I don't think there was any other. Were there any other honorable mentions? Who did I have and then cross out? I had Ron Swanson and then Tracy Jordan. I crossed those out because I don't think of those as fucking sitcoms.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it. Thanks everyone for listening.
Sweet.
That's the end of our episode. Thank you, Johnny, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have to do this again soon. All right. Thanks everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.